So I was with my sister. We was just to go to one errand, just one. But she decided to go grocery shopping. So while she was going grocery shopping, I decided to stop by Five and Below to pick up one item. One. I left with five. So to give more context to the story, I was watching the YouTube channel The Weird Side of Ray, where she bought art supplies from 5below. Some of these art supplies overlap with hers. Actually, one of them purposely it was this marker, which is what I was meant to buy. But there were so many different art supplies, I just couldn't help myself. Some of them really overlap. Like, there was two different sets of pens. There was this set and the other set. I bought this only because it had the 2.2 and 0.4. The other one had larger nibs, but I'm pretty sure it probably worked the same. Pretty sure it's the same brand. Then it was this one, which it was between this and the skin tone. They only had two tones, so I bought the gray tone. And this one she also bought. I also wanted to try out, which was inks, because I just love inks, and I want to see if, since it's calligraphy, I'm guessing where it's more like watercolor inks, but it'll be very, very fun to play with. And this one, because, well, I have this kind of brand right now. It's sitting right here on my table. Art 101, and it's watercolor brush pens. So I'm definitely going to play with this. I want to see if their brush pens is better than any of the other products. And this one, which she didn't show, but I opened it to see what kind of... It is double alcohol ink markers, and it's double dual tip. So I opened it to see what it is, and it's like bullet nib and chisel nib. That's a very fat chisel. Like, look at that baby. Look at that bad boy. So yeah, and since I bought it, I decided, well, since I bought it, I might as well make a somewhat, hopefully interesting, I don't know, video to experiment and make an illustration out of it. So I'm just gonna swatch all these out and then maybe make an illustration out of it. Oops, not that one. Not that. Okay, I'm gonna do it on this page. So, here we go. Alright, so these are my swatches. I did a swatch of all the markers, the inks. I didn't use a pen. I didn't use this pen. I just swatch out the inks by itself with a brush. I test out the watermarkers because this is how I'm most likely going to use it. The blue is very strong in this. But yeah, the markers actually surprisingly blend very well. They're very juicy because I got some drops right here by accident. But I just don't like how it looks on this paper, at least. But it blends well least the blues, the blacks, this light blue, and some of the browns. This light brown was very hard to blend with the browns. These browns. But these blends very well. It's very sharp, but these blend the best of the two markers. The pens go well with the markers, and they write pretty well. They, at least on this paper, because this paper's not the best, but you know, at least for markers. But yeah, and I'm also surprised at how well these inks come out. They're so pretty and shiny. Look at the shimmer. Can you see the shimmer? Shimmery. Okay, so I like it. So yeah, now I just make an art. Well, make an illustration where I could use these. I might not use alcohol and the water the same one time. I might just fill it with the markers and then the water. Or maybe I'll mix them both. I don't know. But I'll try to come up with illustration to use all of these. Or most of these. Either one. So what I have to say about these markers is going to be quite a nitpick. So I'm going to start with that first. And I want to explain something about the pens. The pens work fine with the markers. They are bleed proof because I said it, I'm going to say it later, but I think that's what I was trying to go for. But just make sure you erase first, because if you erase with the pen on top, the pen will pretty much fade or erase with it. So, and about the markers, again, a nitpick, is the big thick ones. They roll so easily, so that gets irritating after a while, but that's again just a nitpick. And the other markers, the full gray pack, the only thing I don't like about that is just that they don't have like names or numbers or anything to signify it, which is something for someone who takes off the caps and don't look at the caps much. I would like, it's nice to have some kind of indication somewhere on the cap or the other cap, the other side, because not the one I take off, but or on the tube, to have a name, because I continuously mix up in my colors while I'm drawing and inking. Also about these fairies, not just this one, but all the other ones that I'll be drawing in this illustration, I have no idea what to draw, and I decided, because I was like picking up Japanese again slowly, to come up with a story with the colors that I have, and I decided to come up with fairies. And since I'm using, well, Bray in this one, I made a fairy called Bray. Technically in Japanese called Hairo, so that's her name. And I even made a story if you want. Well, even if you don't want it, I'll just share it for you. Anyway, you feel free to skip. What's her name? Oh, that's not it. Here it is. Hairo desu ka? Oname desu ka? Hairo desu. Yosei desu. Gakusei janai desu. 32 歳です。Hatarakimasu. This is that one? I think it's that one. どこで養成の工場に I could pronounce it wrong. I probably pronounced it wrong. 勤めます. What I wrote there. Oh, 難しい講師ですよ。何をしますか？空に灰色を描くと雨が降ります。空はとても灰色です。Is that what I wrote? I forgot what I wrote. But anyway, so that's that fairy. And the next one I'm moving on is to the... I can't read my kanji. That's why. Is the for this colors, the inks works fine separately, or I gotta like... I'm gonna explain it later. I'm gonna say it later. It's very muddy when you mix the colors too much. So I just won't mix the colors too much, and I won't use it in a big illustration like this. Maybe like a small little illustration. I don't know. These are not my favorite inks, although it works fine. Or maybe I should use a different paper, because haven't used ink on this paper before. This is my first time using inks. I use watercolors mostly. And my watercolors look, even the cheapest watercolors look fine on this, so I don't know. But I mean, I like how the colors look.
in the end, when they dry though, you lose the sparkle. That's the only sad thing. See, I cry. But anywho, I also made a story for this one. And since her name is Rainbow, her name is Niji. So yeah. Oni wa desu ka? Niji desu. Yosei desu. Gokusei desu ka? Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Ja kaito hito desu. I think Shichi sai desu. Yosei no kojo ni tsutome ni ko itte Sora ni Niji wo egakimasu. Watashi no shikoto wa tanoshii kara oki daisuki desu. Hey, oh, there we go. I don't know what happened. It didn't stop. Okay. Dare wa shikoto desu ka? Watashi no shikoto de Hero no. I forgot what I wrote. Sumaranai desu, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, I gotta go over what I wrote. But anyway, moving on to the next one and the last one, which is my glass fairy, which is with the watercolor markers or watercolor pens, whatever you want to call it. So these work relatively fine. It's kind of work what I expected to actually, especially after looking at the thumbnail I did. I just gotta make sure that I don't overwater it because they bleed through each other so much and so easily. So, and it really helps to, when I'm using the water, don't go to straight water. Mix the color. That's why I have my palette out. I mix a little draw, put a little of the color in the palette, mix water in it, and apply that color on top of that already apply color of the markers. And since they're real brushes, it's tedious to color a whole thing, unlike if you had felt tip brush markers, which makes it easier to color in one big swoop. This one is a bit difficult with real brushes, real brush markers or pens or whatever you want to call it. This one also came with a story, and this one's story name is Kyogake, which means galaxy or Milky Way. And so, yeah. I'm not going to read the story because it's almost out of time, but yeah, you see what it is.
So that's it for today's video. Just move this over. And I like the products. I like them generally, more or less. The one that I was most happy about were pretty much the markers and the pen. The pen is very light and easily erased, but it's still pretty good, decent, and it doesn't bleed when you put markers on top of it. I also really like the markers. The one I like the most was this because of the tips. This one I would like more if the broad side wasn't as thick. It was a very thick broad tip. I mean, you can still color up the point, but if I want to get really fine, I could use the other side. But it's very hard to color big areas with a very broad tip. I wish it wasn't as broad, basically. The one I was most disappointed in would have to probably be, yeah, the inks. I mean, they blend nice. They look fine. It looks kind of muddy, though. Especially when it dries, it looks even more muddier. I don't know, is it because of the way the blending? I don't know. Or maybe I should just, more is less. Use less colors. But it wasn't, like, the most disappointing one for me, per se, out of the three. But I still like it. It's just the most disappointing one. And I guess this one's okay. I mean, I knew going in what's its spec because it's Art 101. I have a big art set of it. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like what you see. If you want to continue seeing more, subscribe, like, hit the notification button. Till next time. Ciao!